everybody, and welcome to Movie Couple Live. Happy Saturday. This is the show where we talk about all the latest in movie news and pop culture. I'm Wendy.
I'm Dustin.
And first, before we start, apologies if you guys hear that sound. You may not be able to hear it.
Leaf blower in
There's
the
a leaf
background.
blower. They had all day to do this, but they wanted to do it now on a Saturday. I don't know. But you guys, welcome to the show. Hope you're having a great time. Today on the show, we're talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender and the Netflix series. The cast potentially may be revealed.
We're also going to be talking about Hunger Game Prequel to start production in 2022.
And of course, our spoiler discussion for The Bad Batch episode 15, aka the finale part 1, aka Return to Kamino. You guys, we're so excited to have you here. Thank you, as always, for joining us. So right off the top, a little bit of announcements and what is new on our channel. We have our non-spoiler review for Free Guy that is now up. Now, the movie doesn't come out until next week, August 13th, but the non-spoiler review, which you could try to keep as vague as possible, but still try to give you guys our insight and thoughts on the film, is up for your viewing pleasure. And also, our Suicide Squad review will be filmed and it will go up after this live stream. And I want to just give a really quick shout out to everybody who joined me on Twitch yesterday as we visited Blackpink Island. And this morning, I spent all morning
trying to get her little hammer.
It's a light stick. I tried to get my light stick working because the battery got so corroded in it because I hadn't touched it in a long time. So I did some Google. And if you have any devices that got a little corroded by regular batteries, not like iPhone, okay? Let's not get crazy. You can use a tiny bit of vinegar and let it dry. And apparently it does the trick.
It brings it back to life.
We're going to go see the Blackpink movie tomorrow. So this is definitely coming. I don't know if I'm going to light it up in the theater because this might be annoying AF.
Yeah.
But
definitely before and after.
All right, I'm done. Sorry.
Yeah, Wendy would probably just be here squeaking that thing
all freaking day, all
and
day
now
long.
He's constantly looking at her going,
She's
is that a toy? Is
what
that a toy?
is that? Mommy? What is that? All right, you guys, let's go ahead and dive into our first topic, which is actually not listed, like I think in the description, but we did get to watch Suicide Squad last night. And yes, a non-spoiler review is coming, but we just wanted to kind of come on and give you guys our quick non-spoiler thoughts and just say this movie is absolute bonkers.
And I loved every minute of it.
Every minute of it. It's crazy. It's about 2 minutes and 12 seconds, including the credits.
Wait, 2 minutes and 12?
2 hours and 12 minutes. I'm so sorry. That's what happens when you don't have enough coffee in the morning. You know, time to drink more water.
I mean, just from beginning to end. I mean, this definitely has James Gunn's fingerprint on it. You can tell it's him being allowed to do whatever he wants. And it is definitely absolute bonkers, mayhem, craziness. And also, you may not want to be eating sometimes when you watch this movie. Either have your meal before or after, because there's a lot of gore in it.
Rated R for a reason. So,
Yep.
I mean, if you will be essentially fine if you're eating, but it really depends on how if your like tolerance for watching like graphic gore, bloody kind of stuff, if you're okay with it. But this is the Suicide Squad that I was hoping for after reading all the early reactions, the early reviews. And I'm like, man, like, should I believe the hype? It sounds like it's absolutely crazy in the best way possible, and believe in the hype. It's really good. It's a lot of fun. You will really enjoy the way it's very stylized in like the best way possible. So let us know.
I don't want to give any spoilers away from anyone. So, I mean, it's one of those things that you're just going to have to wait and see and find out. And trust me, it's better if you know little to nothing going into this.
Nothing. Stardew asks, did Nathan die? You can spoil that. Actually, we can't because the movie only came out yesterday. So we don't want to because that might mean something to somebody out there watching. So but I will say Nathan is in the film. He plays TDK, the detachable kid. So that is that. Who is your favorite Suicide Squad character aside from Harley Quinn?
Oh yeah,
I love Harley Quinn, obviously. Ooh.
I'll give you a couple list of the characters.
Yeah, let's
that
list
I like
three. Let's list three so we don't give away.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, some of my favorites are King Shark, Polka Dot Man. I liked what is it called? Like the banter back and forth between Deadsport and Bloodsport. That's a combination of Deadshot and
I've done that too.
Bloodsport and Peacemaker. And there's honestly, all of them get their moment. I have to admit, every single one of these characters get their moment, and it's hilarious. It's fun. There's just some of the reactions. I really wish we could have been able to like film our reactions, but it would have been really difficult because there's just moments where you're just like, oh,
there's a lot of those
moments, and there's dozens of them. So
the entire movie you're gonna have that reaction. So you guys enjoy it if you're seeing it tonight, this weekend, whether it's in theaters or at your home. We just watched it from home because we're going back to the theater tomorrow, so we're trying to limit as much as our public outing as much as possible. Even though this would have been hella fun in the theaters. It would have been honestly, great. But the theater would have been super crowded. We could try to go next week.
True. And honestly, having like a big group of people and hearing all of their reactions at certain moments, it's kind of like, when you saw the Avengers for the first time in the movie theaters and people are like, yeah, woo! There's going to be moments in the theaters with the Suicide Squad where everyone you get that overall moment. And so if you feel comfortable with going to the theaters,
yes. My favorite characters from the film, how do you not love King Shark? Even just from watching the trailer, you're like, oh, that's a favorite. Hand. King Shark, Harley. I really like Bloodsport, but you already said it, so I think I'm gonna go with Ratcatcher too.
Yeah,
she's pretty cool.
Honestly, like I said, every single character is great. I love every single character in this movie.
Yeah. Joseph Whitaker is asking which Avengers movie.
Oh, I was talking about the first Avengers.
The first one, but also like the final two. As well. But by then the fandom has built up so much already.
When they all come in through the portals and how everyone is just like, some of the people that have snuck video into the theaters and recorded the audience's reaction.
Yeah.
Very much like that. Wait until our review and we'll give you a lot more information on it. But definitely, yeah. This is going to be this is a fun movie.
This is a very, very fun movie. And you guys, we just want to let you know, just a quick reminder, Super Chat obviously still available, the function, if you would like to continue to support the movie couple. But we're also trying to switch over to Streamlabs because we didn't realize that YouTube was taking about 50% of the super chat, which is much higher than we thought. So we started to switch over to Streamlabs. If you would like to support, tip, whatever you want to call it, the link is just down in the video description below. And with that said, should we move on?
Yes.
To our
next topic of the day.
Next topic of the day is Avatar: The Last Airbender. Has the cast been revealed? Now, again, we're treating this as rumor because other outlets such as Variety, Deadline, The Wrap, Hollywood Reporter have not confirmed this report. The actors' representations, agents, managers also have not confirmed or spoken on this. Neither has the studio, which is Netflix. So we'll treat this as just a speculation and a rumor until we get confirmation. But I like to talk about it because this sounds really interesting and I really like it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit up this website. It's called avatarnews.co. And they've only it's the main four. So this is going to be the Netflix series, not a movie, not a new animated series. And they've cast for Aang. His name is Gordon Cormier. Hopefully I'm saying that right. You can see him. He is 11. He is Filipino-Canadian. You can see him in Lost in Space, which is on Netflix. You can see him in The Stand, which is on Paramount+. And then we have Katara, and I'm so not going to say her name correctly, so I apologize in advance. She is 14. Her name is Kiawentio, I think is how you say it. Tarbell playing Katara, our water bender. She's indigenous North American Mohawk. She is from Ontario, Canada, and she's best known for Netflix's Anne with an E. So already they've got, acting under their belt already.
It makes a lot of sense that they would start grabbing other talent that they've had in their other Netflix properties.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like Disney constantly going after, like, hey, you were in this, let's put you in this now.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
They like what they did, you know, in their performance, and like, you know, they had a good attitude on set, and like, let's bring her over. I think they'd be great for Tara. Interestingly, in an interview in April 2021, she said, quote, it would be fun. It would be a dream if I could work on Avatar: The Last Airbender. I am dying to be Katara. So this is very, very exciting. For Sokka, they've cast Ian Owsley, I think is how you pronounce his last name. He is 19, and he's best known for Netflix's 13 Reasons Why and Apple TV Plus's Physical. And also, like, the website, what they did is they put up like a photo of the actor next to their animated respective characters, and the jawline matches Sokka's pretty well. Like,
not
I can
only
actually
just the jawline, but like the personality of his face. At least in this one picture of his face, he looks like he might be a little bit of a jokester kind of a thing.
Yeah, because Sokka's got those comedic moments, but also playing the big brother of the group at the same time. And finally, we have Zuko, our firebender, I don't want to call him enemy because later on they don't end up being enemies.
Yeah,
but
true.
To start off,
spoiler alert.
Sorry, he is 20. His name is Dallas Liu, and you can see him soon in theaters because he plays young Shang-Chi in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So this casting makes me just really, really happy. The age feels right. The representation is there. I don't want to go on and drone about the Shyamalan version of it because we just really didn't like that. I think collectively people don't really love that, and I don't feel like the casting was actually accurate.
Yeah, that was one of the big problems, I think, about saying that they're one of the big problems. There were many, many problems about the live action movie that M. Night Shyamalan did. However, one of the big criticisms is the fact that you're like, why are these people who are supposed to be indigenous, Eskimos kind of people, ethnicity, you have your two leads, which are white. Everyone else is a different ethnicity.
Yeah, what?
And just the way it was cast before was a little like it. Everyone seemed to have a problem with it.
Yeah.
During the show, but it's nice to see that they are really taking that to heart. They're really focusing on that one big problem. However, right now we also don't know how everything else is going. Seeing how we still have very little information about the show to begin with. Yeah,
Dustin and I are approaching this very much like optimistically cautious this time around. I remember when the Avatar film, the Last Airbender film, when it came out, we were kind of looking into like the weapons. We were getting kind of excited, but then the title card went up. When the movie started, we're like, oh, this already didn't look good.
The way they did the earth, fire, wind.
Yeah.
And it was like, this doesn't red flag already. And then throughout the entire movie we're just like, well,
you shouldn't need to bend. You shouldn't have to
have 5 earthbenders to move a rock.
20 minutes of bending to move a pebble.
I can do better than that.
That's Sokka right there. Just pick it up. Go boomerang.
Exactly. And that's one thing that I do hope that they keep in this, saying how it is going to be a series and not a movie. They can take more time with it, have more comedic moments, because that was something that the original Avatar did so amazingly well, is that it did weave together the comedy and the drama, and the fact that they, these are kids. So I'm excited to see where they're going with this. So far, we've gotten some discouraging news about the original creators of Avatar separating from
which is
the Netflix project.
Makes me worried just a little bit.
But technically they were involved with the M. Night Shyamalan one. So
who knows?
I know. I'm just I'm hoping. I like the way all the actors look, and I have not actually seen any of them.
Well, we're going to see Shang-Chi in September, so at least we'll see, Dallas Liu doing his thing.
But I like the projects that they've been on. From the sounds of it, these are experienced actors. They know what they're doing. They look the role. So good thumbs up on both of those. I'm wondering now what their martial arts training is.
Well, why don't we give that a quick gander? I'm going to look up specifically because I think for Dallas Liu, who may be playing Zuko. I said Zuko. I meant Zuko. If you're going to be in a film like Shang-Chi, you've got to have a little bit of martial arts background, some training. they'll train you on the film unless if you didn't have training, but I feel like he probably has training under his belt already. But let's look up what is his name? Gordon
Oh,
Cormier?
we just said it. First thing that comes up, Gordon Ramsay. Nope, that's not
No.
who we're looking for.
Cooking like a chef. I'm a 5-star Michelin. Actor. Let's see. Oh, it's not coming up for me for some reason. Why?
Huh. Well, maybe we can just copy and paste their names in there.
Oh, I gotta go back. All right, sorry guys. Just
Well, I'm going to assume that they actually do have some kind of martial arts training. I guess, I mean, or some kind of physicality, whether it be dance or sports or.
and they're young, so I feel like potentially could like, adapt to movements and choreography pretty quickly.
And
That's
also,
what I like to think.
I don't think they would hire someone who couldn't do at least something, because the martial arts in this movie is so heavy. But
Yeah.
also, that's something that we were looking at when they first cast Ong. I'm not even gonna give him.
Aang.
I know, but I'm not. No, and that is not Aang in that movie. It is not. It is. He's going to be Ong because it's.
Oh, he's a skateboarder.
Oh, okay. So I guess he could have. Well, and that's actually probably pretty good. Because if he's what is that called?
Mhm.
An airbender, he has to have kind of that.
Yeah,
Flowy
that
kind
flow.
of movement. So, and he's going to be on that little.
He's so young.
Board
in this little demo reel that's on his IMDb. Very young. Also, ironically, wearing orange. So it's giving me a little bit of that Aang vibe already. And this looks like he's much younger there. So I am gonna say that he's probably, has continued to train. Who knows what other type of training he's done, right?
And I'm sorry, I can't. Do you know that name?
Ray. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Martini. Says the actor for Aang does have martial art training. Look on his Twitter. Well, there you go.
That's awesome.
Go.
And it's always, it's good to know that it's there. If it's not there, it's not like, oh my gosh, that means they're going to be terrible at it.
Right. You can always train someone, but it really helps because I think it's harder to find a kid double.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And which is the reason why they cast the original, like when Shyamalan did the movie, the actor he cast as Aang, he cast specifically for his martial arts skills.
Yes.
But they didn't give us enough of that even.
No, they didn't give us enough of that, nor did they. I mean, plus he wasn't that good. I'm sorry,
well,
kid. He's young and
yeah.
He just
I don't
did
think
not
he
seem
was trained as some of the other names that we were kind of discussing here today. So nonetheless, if this is the cast to be confirmed, obviously we're treating this again as rumor until it is confirmed by studio management or other publications as well. But this has me kind of excited to see who else we get, like who is going to play Friar Lord Ozai, who is going to play Iroh and Yue, and like, are they going to have the Kyoshi Warriors? Is Toph going to be a part of? Toph wasn't really until season 2, right?
Yeah,
they don't go to Ba Sing Se.
So that means I'm hoping that they'll do what they did for the animation, is the fact they'll have like 3 seasons.
I want to audition for. Hello, I am Judy.
Judy.
There is no war in Ba Sing Se. That's what that's the role. That's what I want.
And then I loved how they got another Judy when the other Judy wasn't following orders.
It's crazy. I am Judy. I am
what
also
happened
Judy.
To the other Judy.
Oh man. All right, you guys. We're gonna head over to our Streamlabs. Thank you so much to Bleeding Green, who sent in a Streamlabs, who writes, I know it's a long shot, but I'm still hoping that Disney/Marvel looks at the reviews and fan reactions of the Suicide Squad and let James Gunn go nuts with the project in the future.
Me too.
I bet Disney's watching.
Yeah.
There's no way Disney's not watching. That is still one of their directors as well.
Yeah, true. And you know what? James Gunn is right now in this really good spot to where he's like, hey, I could go anywhere I want. And I find it hilarious that all of this happened because of the outrage that came onto him for
his
all
problematic
of
tweets.
His problematic tweets.
Days.
And that was probably the best thing to ever happen to him, for him to get fired, hired, and then rehired, kind of a thing. And it's kind of like people are like, oh yeah, James Gunn's amazing, and
Got
he's back bigger than he ever was.
I feel like with Disney, though, especially, well, should I say Marvel? I feel like Marvel really lets the directors try to play out their vision as much as they can.
I would think to say safer bet would be to say they do it more often than say other studios. There are a lot of studios, I believe, like when Fox was when Fox was Fox, and a couple of other studios that have just had really bad history of getting in the way of the directors. But yeah, from what I've heard from interviews, is Warner Brothers was like, yeah, do whatever you want, kill whatever character you want,
or don't kill whatever characters you don't want.
There were maybe they might have said, except for maybe this one character, you can kill all the rest of them, but you just don't kill this one, please.
I don't know, man. That movie, I can't wait until we get into our non-spoiler and spoiler reviews. I think we really should do both. So the spoiler in due time will go up on Patreon. But the non-spoiler review will come up later today.
And here's another thing too, seeing how Suicide Squad is super rated R. I mean, like heavily hard R.
It's not even for mature.
I'm wondering if they will allow, like, say, James Gunn to direct the next Deadpool movie and make it rated R, kind of a thing. I'd be really curious to see. Now, there's now a couple high banking rated R comic book movies out there. So I'm wondering if Disney is now going to be a little bit more lax on making a rated R Deadpool, making a rated R whatever, because I'm sure they have so many good properties that would just be really fun to see.
Can you see James Gunn doing like a Deadpool?
A rated R.
Wouldn't that be
Deadpool?
Crazy?
Yeah.
After seeing what he did with Suicide Squad, and we'll wait and see what happens, what he does after Guardians. Let's see. There was a comment here in the chat. Watchlist TV writes, James has a new project with DC after the Peacemaker show. So we'll see. I wonder if it's an untitled project, so we don't know. And who knows, he's not talking to Disney right now. We don't know that. There's a lot of
he's doing
Guardians 3, but then after that, like, potentially, they could have him come back and do something else. We don't know. I feel like, these conversations or Zoom calls, I guess, are being had all the time. I really wouldn't be surprised to see James Gunn with another Disney property.
Here's a question for all of you guys. If you could see James Gunn do any Disney property, whether that's going to be a comic book property or a Star Wars property, and they could make it R or not R, which property would you just be like,
have your mind blown?
Yeah, have your mind blown over. I think he would be a good fit for Deadpool if him and Ryan Reynolds get along. If him and Ryan Reynolds butt heads too much, I think that's going to be very, very problematic. So, you just brought up something.
Let me just go ahead and switch the title cards so people aren't like, what the heck? What the heck is that? Go ahead.
So, no, you brought up Moon Knight.
Debbie actually dropped this in our Discord. Thank you so much to Movie Bunch, Debbie.
I would think James Gunn doing something like a Moon Knight, so where the character is a little messed up in the head.
Yeah,
I think would be very interesting.
So let's see here. This is an article from the Ronin.org talking about Moon Knight, which is they have some brief updates here for the Disney Plus show. Emily Van Camp's Sharon Carter is said to be appearing. Interesting, although it is unknown if it'd be a simpler brief cameo or something more. What is funny?
Sorry, watch list. Give him Booster Gold.
Oh,
that would be awesome.
Oh,
perfect. Giving him Booster Gold is because he's such not obscure, but he's such a bizarre character to begin with. But I think giving him a Booster Gold would be brilliant.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Okay, I don't know how to segue back into this, so I'm just gonna jump into it. So back to the Moon Knight news. Sharon Carter, it could be appearing. It's unknown if it's gonna be just a cameo or maybe something more. And of course, we saw her in Falcon and the Winter Soldier as the overall baddie, which I was kind of like, yeah, really? But also, I guess kind of makes sense. So, and let's see here. The article goes on to say Oscar Isaac's Mark Spector once worked for the CIA and may have had a history with Sharon Carter, who left S.H.I.E.L.D. to work with the CIA at the end of Captain America: The Winter Soldier. And we've also see here in the article, French actor, model, dancer. I'm going to mess up this name so bad. Loic, L-O-I-C is how it's spelled. Mabanza is working on the series. However, his role is unknown or how big it will be. And you can, in the article here, kind of shows the acting reel for the actor, dancer, model. And that is all I've got for this news. So thank you so much, Debbie, for the quick news flash on Moon Knight. Always to be unexpected here. You never know where you're going to get here on the Movie Couple live show.
And speaking of Debbie in our Discord, if you guys want to join the chat, I mean, I love all the conversations that get dropped, all of the information that gets dropped into our Discord. Hop on in, drop news, feel free to talk about it. One rule, be nice, be polite, respect everyone's likes and dislikes. If you want to disagree, that's perfectly fine, as long as you do it politely.
I don't know why it's not letting me
copy and paste.
Copy. I'm just going to right click. And paste.
Paste. There it goes.
Go.
And feel free to join us in our Discord.
And moving on to our next piece of news here, we've got The Hunger Games. The prequel, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, will begin production in 2022. So this is, as it says, the prequel. So this comes years before the first Hunger Games, and it doesn't follow Katniss Everdeen or anybody you've met so far in the Hunger Games, except for President Snow. This is actually a story that's focused around President Snow.
And it's like when he's younger, right?
When he's very, very young.
Because you read the book. I haven't.
I listened to it on Audible.
Same thing.
There's a lot of that I liked, but there's one thing about, like, certain things about me where when it comes to villain's origin story, where I want to know just enough, but I don't want to know completely, where I was like, they were just misunderstood. And if it hadn't been for XYZ events, they wouldn't have da-da-da. And I'm not saying you have to be like always born bad, but President Snow was so hated in that, because he's a bad man in the story. I just didn't feel like I need his past to justify where he came from and why the Hunger Games and this and that. But nonetheless, it's still a good read. There's a lot of good parts that I liked about the book. Nonetheless, I might probably will revisit it in 2022 or 2023, whenever the movie is set to come out.
And I'm also really curious because, honestly, I think the Hunger Games storyline, especially in the movies, has played out. I don't know what the interest is for a prequel of the Hunger Games. Me personally, I'm a little like, oh, okay, I'll wait, see what they are, see what the word is, see what people are saying about it, and then whether or not they like it, way before I decide on whether or not to go. I want to know what your guys' thoughts are, though, because I mean, there's some people who are really into Hunger Games and are probably gnawing at the bit to get this prequel. But I want to know, whereabouts are some of you guys? Are you guys like super excited for this? Because production isn't going to start until 2022. Yeah. So we're probably not going to get this until 2023, 2024.
Probably. And Entertainment 720 writes, book is not as good as the others. Agree with that, but still
Very
okay.
There are some moments in the original Hunger Game books that just rip your heart apart. And
not so much in this one.
And
there's some moments that you're like, oh, really? But then there's others you're like, well, all right, I guess it's okay. Let's see. And Entertainment 720 goes on to say, depends on the young Snow casting a lot. And then Ruru 2 follows up with dig up Draco Malfoy to play young Snow. Potentially.
That could be good. I mean, I think he's about the same age. Or no. I think the kid who played Draco Malfoy would be really good, or the kid who played Joffrey. I
don't think you want him to take on another villainous role after the backlash like honestly, got as Joffrey.
He's probably like, no.
The poor kid literally did his job as an actor, was so believably bad that people were actually bullying him for a made-up character. It's made up.
It's a TV show.
It's fake. It's called acting.
And apparently the kid's super nice.
Usually people who play villains are like generally really nice people, which makes you wonder. I was like, where are you pulling up from? Where's this emotional stuff coming from, like that you're pulling up to portray your badness?
Honestly, it might be the idea that good people have, they can they have the good motivations. All they have to do is suppress that, and that natural villain just kind of comes out. It's not really like boiling it up. It's more along the lines of suppressing everything else down so the bad can pop up.
But it's just the way he does it, though. It's just, he didn't have to do anything. Like, he didn't have to say a single word in the show. He just had to stand there and look like Joffrey, and you'll go, oh, I can't stand him. I can't stand him. I hated the characters, but never, hated the character, but I would never go up to the actor and be like, hey, you.
I hate you.
Yeah, like, no, you're an actor. So this prequel movie for Hunger Games will focus on Coriolanus Snow at age 18. So this is years before he would even become president of Panem. And it says here on the article from Deadline, young Coriolanus is handsome and charming, though the Snow family has fallen on hard times. He sees a chance for change in his fortunes when he is chosen to be a mentor for the 10th Hunger Game. Okay, I was wrong, sorry, because I thought it was the first. The 10th Hunger Game. Sorry about that.
10th?
The 10th. That's the first one he got involved with, though.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because by this time, if you have 13 districts, you would not have enough mentors, because it was always a survivor from your district from a previous Hunger Games.
But they don't have enough, yeah.
They don't have enough. They would have to wait at least 13 years.
Yeah.
In order for that to even be possible.
And the article goes on to say, only to have his elations dashed when he was assigned to mentor the girl, tribute from District 12.
Dun, dun, dun.
So there's some parallels there. So yeah, again, the book is an interesting read, especially if you're into the lore of the Hunger Games. And I am very curious to see, as they move forward with production, who they're going to cast in the role. Obviously, Katniss won't even be mentioned in this. I don't think Effie would be involved in this at all. I think she'd come much later. So maybe don't look for too much of that connection, because Katniss's Hunger Games is years away. Because Snow, Coriolanus is hard to say fast. Snow is just 18 years old. All right, so let's go ahead and go on to our interesting chats here. Should have been about Haymitch. I agree. I would have loved to see a Haymitch movie or like a series or something.
I'm glad you pointed that out. Honestly, I'd be much more interested in a Haymitch story.
See Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson. Well, you wouldn't. It would be a young Woody.
Young,
Harrelson.
And
course,
you could kind of go back in time. Who do you get to play
young Woody Harrelson?
Exactly.
I mean,
you don't.
There
you just
is
get
no
him.
Other Woody Harrelson, even young versions.
You just get him to do it. All right. Let's see here. Oops. We're gonna go ahead and move on to our. Is this the final topic already? Are we already there?
No, I thought we still had.
Nope, that's it. The Bad Batch. All right, you guys. We're going to go ahead and move on to The Bad Batch episode 15 spoiler discussion. If you're new to the channel, Dustin and I do a reaction to... We have been doing for every single episode of The Bad Batch, including this latest episode and the one that's coming up next week, and other reactions for shows such as WandaVision, Loki, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and coming up, Marvel's What If, which is... We can't wait for you guys to see it. We're not going to say anymore, because anything we say, I don't want people to interpret it as spoiler.
It's so good.
Yeah, but it's just good. Know it's so good. We're very excited for it to drop on Disney Plus, so we can watch it again ourselves. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive into The Bad Batch. So we're on the final stretch here, the final leg of the race. This is on Disney Plus on the within the first few hours of release. It was called the finale part 1, but the actual title is Return to Kamino. And I get why they don't want to spoil that before you kind of was able to dive in and watch.
Yeah.
But I think we all had a feeling that eventually we were going to come back to Kamino, because Hunter literally said in earlier episode to Omega, I promise you're never going to have to come back to this place, which immediately for the audience, you're like, so you're going to come back to this place.
Yep.
It makes sense. It's where they're all from.
Yeah. And honestly, they do need to also close the book kind of a thing on this time period of the clones, of the Kaminoans, about why are there no longer any Kaminoans? Why didn't we see any in the subsequent movies in
Right.
the sequels,
Right.
kind of a thing. We got a little hint of them in The Mandalorian. So, I mean, because what is it? It was just that one cloner that had the patch on his shoulder.
Dr. Pershing, I think, was the name in The Mandalorian. He's got that patch. I had the photo, but I deleted it because I used it in our reaction review and not. I didn't put the asset on over here, but it looked like a little Kaminoan symbol.
So I'm glad to see that they're starting to push that narrative forward, not only to see what happens in the Bad Batch, but also to kind of give us a little bit more of a background on what's happening in The Mandalorian, you know, because this is about, I think, 5 years before the events of The Mandalorian. I think so. Yes. I keep my Star Wars timeline gets flipped.
I know it's kind of crazy when you're watching, you're like, when, but hasn't this happened? No, it hasn't happened. But I really enjoyed this episode because we've been waiting for the Bad Batch to come face to face again with Crosshair. And I love that initially it was just Hunter who was left behind and was captured. So they got to have that he got to have that conversation with Crosshair, which in earlier episodes and earlier this season, before the group kind of disbanded involuntarily because Crosshair was being bad and trying to shoot them, was like, oh, we got to go for our safety. There was a lot of that conversation already prior to them knowing about anything about their inhibitor chips or anything like that. Conversations between Hunter and Crosshair was already there. You know, Hunter kind of being the leader and being like, hey, what's wrong? And you're acting odd, this whole good soldier follow order sort of a thing. It's weird. And then we find out in this episode, very heartbroken, though he doesn't show it on his face, but with his words, you could tell that he's like, but you left me and we were supposed to be brothers. So who kept me around? The Empire. So yeah, I'm going to stick around but like, I can give you another chance. I'm not going to kill you. I'm still one of you guys. Just join the dark side.
We have
join
cookies.
The Empire. The shocking moment, though, I believe, really was when they were talking about the inhibitor chip, and then Crosshair drops the bomb and says, "I took mine out a long time ago." And I wish they could define a long time ago. Was a long time ago when they initially skinned the chip, and they did some tinkering to make Crosshair think that it got taken out, or was it taken out when he got hit with that engine fire?
That's what I think.
Because that side of the head was like all
fried and crispy.
Yeah.
You get crispy Crosshair.
Yeah.
And that is just something that honestly I kind of saw coming for a moment. I was kind of like, is Crosshair gonna feel a little crossed that he's gonna be like, oh, you left me? And it's like, yeah, you were shooting at us.
Yes.
We kind of had to leave.
Yes.
So I am a little upset that they kind of went that route, or since they were going to go that route, I think they should have structured it a little bit better.
Yeah. To
where it makes a little bit more sense that Crosshair would be a little bit more hurt by that, you know, instead of like maybe he was struggling with the order a little bit more, or showing that something was wrong to where you guys could have helped me, but you decided to run.
Yeah. And we saw a lot of comments in our reaction video as well. It's like, well, you know, a lot of people saying like, yeah, I can understand why Crosshair felt that way. Like they could have tried to come back and take him out and try to reason with him or help remove that chip before it got to this point. But instead they were running around chasing spies. And while I get their sentiment, I also was like, but how do you go back without also getting yourself killed? And will he even come with you willingly? It's going to be a fight. It was going to be a fight for them to get Crosshair out of there. So that was going to make a lot of noise and could potentially end up with all of them captured and or dying. So we probably don't want that. Nerd Chronic is in the chat. Hey, Eric. Nerd Chronic writes, I think it was taken out after he was burned by the ion engine. And that makes the most sense to me because there was such extensive surgery that maybe it was rendered useless anyways. By then, Order 66 had,
exactly. And technically the only reason why they had that chip in there to begin with was the sole purpose of executing Order 66. Once that was done, technically Emperor Palpatine had the specific idea that once Order 66 is done, I'm going to start phasing out the clones anyways. So all that chip needs to do is that one order and keep them in shit and keep them in line long enough for me to start sweeping all of them under the rug.
Yeah. So, that was still shocking to hear. This is the way I am, he said, after he lets the cat out of the bag. And I still don't 100% believe him. But after he said, my chip has been out a long time ago. This is who I am. And I'm like, but no, it's not. But is it?
Now, here's another thing, too. We've gone through this entire season without Crosshair being a part of the Bad Batch. Would you want to see him in this final episode rejoin the Bad Batch, or do something to sacrifice himself to save the Bad Batch, or go back to the Empire, kind of a thing? I'm really curious in which direction they're going to try to go, because I think we got that are we getting a season 2 for
the Bad Batch? Yes, we are.
We are. That's what I was pretty sure that we got it confirmed. If we're going to have kind of like the whole family back together in season 2, where Crosshair is now part of the Bad Batch, because throughout this entire
I'd be worried
series,
that he'd revert back.
Yeah. And would you be able to trust him
Sleep
again?
with one eye open.
Especially if he was like, yes, I'm sorry, that was a terrible Crosshairs. Crosshairs is more
that's
like
a little bit
there
better. Yeah.
He has a little bit of an accent and a little bit of a drawl. But whether or not could they really trust him as part of the group again, if he is kind of like joins the Bad Batch again?
I just don't see it happening. But who knows? Who knows? What we do know, well, actually, we don't know, is how they're going to get off Kamino. We know they get off, right? You're not going to give the Bad Batch a season 2 without there being a Bad Batch. Right. So you know that they survive this. That's not to say the whole group could survive. Maybe we have some casualties. Maybe Crosshair doesn't make it. Maybe somebody else doesn't make it. But I doubt it. I doubt that the group that's been traveling with Omega, I think, will make it. And maybe Crosshair does like the I will always be your brother sacrifice to help them get off Kamino. I don't know. But we do see the Empire raining down all that fire and literally destroying Kamino. Like, that's just, it was really heartbreaking to see.
Yeah, because it was such
history.
A part, especially, from the prequels. All of that history, that's where all of the clones came from. That's where Rex came from. Every single character, all of the to see those the bombardment and seeing those structural supports and the whole city just
into the water. And I'm wondering if they're gonna have enough time to try to take the underwater tunnel over to their ship. Good thing their ship wasn't docked on the actual main platform, that they were a little bit a ways.
Yeah.
So maybe their spacecraft survives, but that was a shock to see. That was like, oh, they're really destroying. So like all the evidences of cloning, all that stuff is wiped. All their scientists are now under the control of the Empire because they've captured all of them. And they've also eliminated the politicians.
Yeah.
And they now destroy the base. And if they go on to, like, if the Bad Batch is essentially the final clone troopers that are left, that is really kind of like Eric saying here in Nerd Chronic, is the end of the era of the clones. Who writes, I think Crosshair will probably die by the hands of the Empire somehow to show that the era of clones is really over. And that's what they've been trying to get to. You know, every single time we've seen the Empire come on, they're like, clones, and they're starting to build their own recruits more and more and more and more, as we can see throughout the series.
I'm also really curious about, like, say, normal everyday Kaminoans that aren't technically
civilians.
Yeah, civilian Kaminoans. I mean, they show the head scientist and they show
the politician,
the prime minister. So like the president. So I guess this would be like if this happened on Earth, they would have taken out DC.
Ooh.
In a sense, they would have taken out the entire city of DC.
Well, yeah.
So did they take all of the scientists? What about cities on the other side, or is the Empire kind of like, no, we're going to try to just kind of, the Kaminoans never existed?
I think for the civilians, they're probably just invaded by the Empire, just like we saw all those other planets. You know, on Ryloth and everything. Tim Vreeling, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, writes, I skipped the Bad Batch episode of Clone Wars and haven't seen Bad Batch yet. Is it still worth it to watch? I hope it's somehow related / connected to the movies and series. There's definitely some connections to both Rebels and Clone Wars, there may or may not be some connections to the Mandalorian.
Yeah,
There's
we're still finding out the.
Yeah, these are theories, nothing confirmed until the show shows it to us, right? But there are characters, one specific character from the Mandalorian you actually do get to see show up in the Bad Batch, but just remember we're going backwards in time because the Mandalorian is still
in the future,
further away.
The Mandalorian's still in the future. Rebels is still in the future,
and then Clone Wars is like had just
Clone Wars. It was
ended.
So it was Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Clone Wars, Revenge of the Sith, Bad Batch, Mandalorian.
Yeah, so you get to see and
then Rebels.
Yes,
because Rebels happens after Mandalorian.
So you'll get to see at least like the Order 66 stuff from this perspective, which is quite crazy because that is episode 1. So at least that'll make you wait to see what happens.
I think that has probably been the most interesting part of this series, been seeing how the Empire is starting to rise, how they're starting to transition from clones to stormtroopers, and a little bit of the character development of the Bad Batch. I still think that there are a lot of filler episodes.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that this last episode really knocks it out of the park.
I think they need it for a season 1. I think they needed to set a lot of stuff up for season 2. I think Filoni, I want to trust in his storytelling, and these are his characters. He knows Star Wars very, very well. So I'm hoping for a good finale that will... I don't know. I feel like it's going to get us in the feels somehow.
Yeah.
That's kind of what my gut is telling me. So we'll see. We'll find out next Friday when we get to watch the show. And of course, we'll be doing a reaction video for all of you guys. So make sure if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any new videos from us. That's cute.
I need to get just like a little bell to go ding-ling.
I should just download like some graphic that'll do that. And with that said, you guys, a shorter show today, but thank you so much for all of you tuning in. Thank you so much to Bleeding Green who contributed via Streamlabs. We will be back on Wednesday with another live stream, and then of course Saturday. Let's see, when does What If come out? Is it Wednesday?
August
or is
11th.
So that's a Wednesday.
Wednesday, yep, it is Wednesday.
So on Saturdays, on next Saturday's live stream, we'll be talking spoilers for the first episode of the Bad Batch, which is very exciting. I can't wait to talk to you guys about it. So exciting. Well, you guys, that's it for us. Thank you so much for hanging out. We love chatting with you. It's always a good time. Stay safe. Enjoy your weekend. Go enjoy Suicide Squad, whether you watch it on HBO Max or you go to a theater. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Like I always say. And we will talk to you guys soon. Bye, everyone.